Thank you for joining the Essential Therapies podcast. Dr. Cindy here with just a quick check-in tonight. I am, if you're just listening and not watching the video, I am out on my pond side deck getting ready to do some significant self-treatment tonight because I've had some, just let's say, loud voices in my body the last week or so. In the last few days, it's really affected me. And a big part of what I want to help people with and educate is that you can feel empowered because there's so much that you can do for your fascial system. The problem is we really haven't been taught what that is in any traditional fitness setting or therapeutic setting. And that is really my mission, to be able to bring that to you. And today I want to talk about something that I get questions about all the time, and that is plantar fasciitis. So people think, oh, fasciitis, because it's in the name, it makes them think of fascia, right? So I will tell you, I had a significant case of plantar fasciitis for quite a long time, many years ago, probably close to 30 years ago now, before I knew about fascia at all, and especially the way that I know about fascia today. And had I known what I know now, the recovery would have been much different. Because here's the problem. We say this a lot in myofascial treatment, that we find the symptom and we look elsewhere for the cause. So the symptom of plantar fasciitis is foot pain, heel pain, arch pain, however that may come up for you, whether it's in one foot or both feet. I actually had it go from one foot to the other foot, and it was kind of back and forth. So what I like to look at and explain and educate people about is that we need to look at the whole body, because this fascia is going through every cell of the body, and most of the time there's something hung up higher in the body, or what we would call as therapists higher up in the chain of the body. So you're feeling it in the foot, but what's going on at the pelvis? What's going on in the spine? What's even going on in the jaw? And it's all connected. And what happens is, invariably, you go to the doctor, they give you a diagnosis code for plantar fasciitis, and then you get treatment at the foot, and they're not looking anywhere else. A myofascial therapist is going to look at the whole body and say, okay, what's going on in the fascial tension all the way up? And so we often see a pelvis that is either upslipped on one side, or upslipped and rotated, or rotated one way in the transverse plane or the sagittal plane, and all of these fancy words. But what that means is that you have asymmetry in your fascia, which is throwing your alignment, your skeletal alignment, out of whack. And so we have this picture that has circulated for many years. It is a picture of a skeleton, and if you're watching the video, I have it here. But imagine fascial restriction really crunching together the rib cage and that same side of the pelvis. So in this picture, it's a backwards view or a back view, and it's scrunching together the right rib cage into the pelvis and down to the hip. And so it's pulling the shoulder down on the right side and pulling the pelvis up on that side. So let's just say there's not a rotation there, but just an upslip. But that leg on that right side is going to be functionally shorter when we look at the person out of gravity, and you're going to see some asymmetries even in standing. So then when we get to the tissue and we start feeling around, we might notice that this tightness is connected somewhere else in the body. And so what we're doing is giving treatments for someone to do at home. And I don't like to use just the word stretching, because it's not just your typical stretching. I find that people think of stretching as holding a technique or a pose or a position for maybe 30 seconds, maybe at the most 90 seconds. But we know the fascia needs much longer than that to really change shape. And so when we're doing hands-on treatment, in fact, today I did a treatment on someone fixing this exact problem with this sort of crunching together of the right side, and my hands were in the same position, connected into the body, reaching into that fascial restriction for about 20 minutes. And it took that long for me to get what I really wanted as far as some significant change in that tissue. And then I went to the leg and I did some work in the leg and held that for quite some time, probably over 10 minutes. And at the end of the treatment, which I then ended up all the way at the head and at the jaw as well, the pelvis was balanced, the leg length was the same, and now they had a new place from which to move. And so it takes a while then, though, when you think about one side of the body as being, this tightness is pulling all the way down into the heel, it's grabbing, grabbing, grabbing. Sometimes the bone of the calcaneus, the heel bone, starts to also adapt, because when there's that much pressure on a bone, the osteoblasts in the bone are going to be signaled to create more bone and lay down more calcium and maybe make a bone spur. So I had those too, and I see those all the time. But that's just an adaptation of the body saying, hey, there's so much pulling here, we need to do what we're supposed to do, which is add some bone here. And then you have a very painful area, because now there's inflammation. So you have inflammation pulling on all of this tissue because it's aggravated, it's irritated, and it can be extremely debilitating. I remember at the time I was a graduate assistant trying to teach aerobics several days a week with horrible plantar fasciitis. And so when we take a different look at the body, if you've had chronic plantar fasciitis, chances are you haven't addressed these fascial restrictions all the way up the chain, which may include past injuries that you don't even remember. And maybe for quite some time it didn't cause a problem, but the body continues to adapt. And it does a fairly good job at it until it doesn't. And then we start to have other symptoms pop up here and there. So I just wanted to give you some education and a little different way of looking at plantar fasciitis. And if you are curious or would like to have more information, feel free to reach out to Essential Therapies or seek out a myofascial therapist, preferably the John F. Barnes technique, where we use very gentle techniques. We aren't digging into the body, causing more pain. The last thing we want to do in an inflamed area is to start digging in and causing pain and thinking that that's what we need to do to release fascia, because we don't. The body is a very intelligent fascial system using biotensegrity, this push-pull system throughout the whole body. And when it's hung up in the wrong way, you need someone who understands this and can take attention to the body very gently and give you techniques that you can do at home to help. So perhaps that's maybe what I need to do in one of my next therapeutic exercise or self-treatment videos, is to give you a series of plantar fascia type techniques that you can do on your own, and give that a try and see if that will help. If you're interested in that, feel free to comment below or always reach out. And please like and subscribe if this was helpful to you, and share with someone else who could benefit. Have a great day, and see you next time.